Hey everybody, good morning. Mr. Humphreys here. You might remember, hopefully you've seen some of the other videos that I've put on. I'm here with my daughter May Humphreys, who's a fourth grader. She's happy to help me out. This time we are going to talk a little bit about today. We're going to talk about we're going to do some more movement, of course. We're going to talk about different types of movement that you might be able to engage in. And then we're going to talk a little bit about hygiene, which as kindergartners, pre-kindergartners starts to become pretty important. We wanted to tell you a little bit about that. So first, why don't we go ahead and we're going to warm our bodies up before any kind of movement. As you know, we want to warm up our bodies. We first want to look around, and May and I have done a pretty good job. We've cleared this whole space. You can do helicopter pretty easily. Today, she is going to be moving a little bit more than usual. We have to kind of do some straight and zigzag moves. So we've moved, our space, and she'll stand way in the back and move to the front. But we wanted to clear a bigger space today. Okay. But for warm-up purposes, here we go. May, why don't we start with just some high knees? Can you move just a little closer, May? If you would to the camera. Okay. So go ahead and just some high knees marching. Okay. And of course, you please follow along like this at home. May is just bringing those knees up right about to her waist, okay? And you can move your hands as well. That might be a little bit extra movement that feels pretty good. Nothing too fancy here, but this does a couple things. This is going to get the heart moving a little bit, right? In order for those muscles to move, our heart has to pump more blood down there to get them moving, okay? We have to feed those muscles with that blood to make it work. And so May's not only making her heart active and getting that warmed up, but also her legs, right? This is a great way to do it. Now let's add one more layer to this. What she's going to do is she's going to kind of put her arms out like this, almost like she's flexing her muscles, and she's going to try to touch her opposite elbow to her knee. And if you notice, May's doing a great job here. She's not dipping down. May, show them dipping down to touch. See, we don't really want to dip down like that. We're bending our back. We're doing ourselves, we're not exercising it as well as we could. If you can just bring your knee up, think of it as a simple rotation up top, and she brings her knee up, that's helping us get in this area, her core, and she's continuing to work on her heart and her legs. Okay? I can hear May starting to breathe hard. Hope you're doing this at home. All right, last one for warm-ups. Let's try to really focus on those legs. May, can you get down into a mountain climber? Maybe you'll do it on the side if you don't mind, May. You just flip around. So there we go. And May is just going to kind of start with one leg high, one leg low. And you can do this a number of different ways, right? May's sort of in fast motion here, which is probably good. May, what if you were really tired but still wanted to work out? Could you do this a little bit slower where you kind of switch and then pause for a second? Like you switch and switch and switch, just like that, right? If you're tired, this is still a great exercise to do. And then maybe when you have a little bit of energy saved up, show them one more time, just get back into the fast motion where you're going as high as you can. And this is tough on this particular floor with socks on. Maybe having a tough time a little bit, but all right, we'll stop there, May. Nice job. So as always, as you've heard me say, and hopefully you've watched us in the past, 2, 3, 4 minutes of warm up, nothing more. May's muscles are ready now, and she can move safely, and she's warmed up. Okay. So today, here's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about a couple of different movements that you'll make, both in gameplay when you're playing a game at school, or if you join a team. I know some of you are probably already on soccer teams. We want to talk about some of those specific movements that our bodies can make, and then different rates or speeds at which they make them. Okay, so for instance, May, if I can have you kind of jump back there. May's going to demonstrate some of these simple moves, and I'll ask you to do them at home too, in whatever space you have. If you don't have this much space, no problem, just do half of that, okay? So we want to talk first about 3 different movements, and those are straight line movements, okay? So May just moves in a straight line right toward the camera, okay? And right now she's just walking. Okay, go ahead and walk back, May. We also want to talk about a curved movement, okay? Moving at a curve. So May, kind of show us looping in. Yeah, see how she's curving and she's getting to that same spot up here, but she's doing it with a curve, okay? And then finally, go ahead back, May. We want to talk about, and this is one I hope that you're probably used to if you've played basketball or played tag, a zigzag movement. Okay, so May, show us what a zigzag movement is. You're going sharply one way and then sharply another. Okay, notice how she kind of cuts. Okay, when you plant on one foot and you cut. May, let's show that movement, please. When you come back, May is going in one direction, okay, and then she's going to plant on with one foot. I'll get out of the way. Plant with that outside foot and then turn and cut to the other side. And show it again, May. Plant with that foot and cut. Good. And that's very different than either the straight or the curved movement. Okay, so let's talk for a minute. When might you, and I'll ask you to kind of brainstorm at home and think and go ahead and say some things out loud. When, in what sport, during what occasion would you move in a straight line like this? Okay, go ahead, May. Move in a straight line. Okay, when are we moving in a straight line? You think about it for just a second. I think about if I'm ever just running, straight running, if I'm playing softball or baseball. May's a big softball player, and after she hits the ball, she has to run as fast as she can to first base. And that's in a straight line. Okay. If you're a soccer player, maybe you're running to kick the ball, you're running to help a teammate, you're running to catch a pass, that running might be done in a straight line. All right. If you're playing football as you get older, okay, you are always running in a straight line. Maybe you're running to make a tackle, or you have the ball, or you're running to catch a pass. There's a lot in sports and games where we just run straight. As you get older and you go for jogs, okay, you might be on a sidewalk, or if you're lucky enough to be going around a track, there are times that you're just running straight. All right. Movement two, a little bit of curve. Okay. May show us that curve again. You're kind of coming in like a circle. That might be if you're what? If you're kind of running around somebody to kick that soccer ball. Maybe you have to go around a defender to the basket. If you're going to do a layup in basketball, a lot of different ways that this happens, but it's that side movement. Okay. Finally, and this is my favorite, if you do that zigzag, maybe do shorter zigzags this time, maybe 2 steps each. 1, 2, plant and go. Plant the outside foot and we turn and we plant and turn. Good. This, if you're playing tag, what a great way to keep somebody behind you. If you're faking them out, they can't stay up with you. Now, I think about these zigzag moves. I think about soccer, hockey, basketball, football, tag, you name it. Anytime that there are two people and someone's trying to tackle you or get you with the ball or defend you in some way, those zigzags are great movements and great ways to kind of keep yourself free. Okay, so nothing too fancy here. 3 different movements: straight line, curve, and zigzag. Now, what we also want to talk about is the different speeds at which we do these movements. Okay, so maybe you can follow along with me. We, of course, as she modeled, and hopefully you did at home, as we stick with a straight line, we can, of course, move slowly, okay? May, can you just move slow? This is probably a walk, all right? Yeah, good. Go ahead and walk back. And I should say, these speeds apply to any movement, whether you're talking about straight line, curve, zigzag, or any other type of movement that you might do. We can always do them slow, medium, and fast. So with this discussion, I kind of want you to get a feel for the differences between slow, medium, and fast, okay? So straight line, slow. What about a straight line movement, medium? What do you think that looks like, May? That's probably, yeah, that's probably a speed walk, maybe even a jog. May, show us at a jog. Okay, good. She's comfortable. She could probably, if the camera wasn't here and I had a bigger room or we were outside, you could do that medium for a long time. Obviously, slow, you could probably do almost forever. It's a great exercise. Medium, you can do for a long time. That's a jog, medium pace. Now, fast. The word that jumps into my mind is sprint. And we don't have much room here. May just take 3 or 4 fast steps in a straight line. Boom. Good. Just like that. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you should be running fast around your house because usually fast is not a speed that we do indoors. Usually, fast is an outside speed. Okay. But in review, watch them right in a row and you do them too. Ready? May, give me slow. Walk, effortless, easy, slow. Okay, give me medium, straight line. Jog, medium, mid-level. Okay, she can do that for a while. We could still talk during that time. And how about fast? Boom, 2, 3 steps. Like I said, if she's sprinting to first base after she wallops that softball, that's fast. She's going as fast as she can to first base. Okay, great. Now, what about curved, May? How can we do curved? You kind of showed us slow already. Show us slow. Slow is walking, and notice she's curving. I think of a big C. I think of the letter C, right? I think of that letter C, and May curves, okay? So that's slow walking. Now, we've talked before with straight line about a jog. And again, I hope you're doing this at home. May, show us a medium, and you do it too. Show us a medium curve. Yeah, that's just a jog. She's just adding a jog into that windy C or S, but something with curves. It's not straight, it's got those rounded parts. Okay, now this is a dangerous one. Make sure you have the room, but May, one time show us curve going fast. Okay, yeah, there's not much room for that here in our small house, and I don't know about you, but again, probably an outside movement. Okay, but when I think about sports, I think of us using those curved movements a lot. I'm going around somebody. I'm trying to fake somebody out or outrun them. That's when I'm doing a curve. And if you want to do it fast, probably better to do it outside, okay? Now, finally, like I said before, my favorite, zigzag. Show us again, May, that zigzag movement. 2 steps, plant. 2 steps, plant. 2 steps, plant. Back and forth, darting, quick, okay? What about at a medium speed? May just showed us slow. Show us medium, May. Just like a jog. Boom, cut, cut, good, and cut. It's really important when we do these zigzags that we plant and cut with that outside foot, right? And May was doing it a little bit there. I used to always teach you take those couple steps, plant, go over here, plant that foot, and then come out and push off. Okay? That is really good if you want to fake out whoever's chasing you or trying to defend or guard you. Okay? That planting is really important. So, May, give it to us one more time. I'll get out of the screen here. Medium, just a medium. Good. Plant, plant, and come across. Okay? Zigzag is a really nice movement. Okay, great. She's going to zigzag back. All right. One time, we'll go ahead going super fast, fast speed. Go ahead, May. Show us fast. Zigzag. Boom. And cut. And cut. Okay, good. So May is also a big basketball player. And we work and we have a little tiny driveway with the basketball hoop. And we don't have much room, but we can do a little bit of zigzagging with the ball. And that becomes very important in the game of basketball. You have the ball and you fake like you're going one way and then you stop quickly and you go the other way and then you zigzag the other way. So basketball is a really great example. I hope you've had a chance to play some basketball, maybe in your PE class. I know it's always one of my favorites to teach because everybody seems to like to dribble the ball around a little bit. So, okay. Well, that wraps up this section of our video today. Nothing too fancy there, but we wanted to touch on those 3 main movements, straight, curved, and zigzag. And we wanted to discuss using different speeds, slow, medium, and fast. And like I said, that can apply to really any form of movement, okay? You think about it, you can do almost any kind of movement going those different rates, right? Think about some of your locomotor movements. Think about skipping or shuffling or galloping, okay? All of those you can do slow, medium, and fast, right? Okay, so Moving on, and May, why don't you join me here for a second? If you remember from some of our videos, we always like to start with a physical component, something that gets the body moving. And we want to talk about either a skill or a coordination or some type of activity. And then what we want to do is we want to talk a little bit about the other side of physical and health education, right? Because your PE teachers are really HPE teachers. We like to say health and physical education. So there's both health education and physical education. So when I always write to the teachers, if I have something to say to all the ACPS's health and PE teachers, I just write HPE teachers. Hello, HPE teachers. So that might be a nice thing for you to think about is to start calling them your health and PE teachers instead of just PE because I think they do so much more than just physical activity. So as we move over to sort of the health side of things, what May and I wanted to talk a little bit about was the different types of, sorry, I'm just checking my notes here. Um, the importance, the benefits of hygiene. Okay. Now that's kind of a funny word, hygiene. And if you haven't heard it before, it's the idea of keeping our bodies clean and making sure that we are taking care of them. So, for instance, um, brushing your teeth. Okay. May, I get on May pretty often. We try to brush how many times a day? Probably 2 times a day if we can, morning and night. What's a benefit, May, of brushing your teeth? You know, even before you tell us, those of you at home, think for a second. I hope you're brushing your teeth. Think about why is it important to brush our teeth? Okay, I'll give you 10 seconds to think about that. Why do we do it? We're asked to do it so often. Why is it important to brush our teeth? Okay, you probably have a good answer. Maybe you talked about it with someone at home, which would be great. May, what do you think is important about brushing your teeth? Why do we do that?
If you let food and plaque sit in your teeth, they might turn yellow, and you'll have bad breath.
Not look so good. So that's one thing for sure. You want to take care and keep that clean, or you might have food in there. And as May says, there's all sorts of fancy words like plaque that can build up. But basically, we just want to keep ourselves clean for our appearance, right? We don't want to look all yucky, and all of a sudden, if our mouth's yucky and our breath stinks, people might not want to sit next to us at lunch. So that's one good reason. Also, and probably more importantly, is for the health of our teeth. Just same way we have to exercise our bodies and we have to learn to read and use our minds, we have to do the same with our teeth. We have to take care of them. Otherwise, when we get older, if we have all sorts of cavities because we haven't brushed our teeth and we have a lot of plaque buildup and some other fancy things, we have to have some really painful things with the dentist. We might have to have teeth pulled or go in all the time and have these adjustments. So it really pays for us to not only brush our teeth, but what's that called where we grab that little string? You tell me at home. We grab a couple pieces of string and we put them in between our teeth and we rub them. Or maybe some of you have, like I have for May and her brother and sister, we buy these little tiny, they look like almost little violins. And you put them in your mouth and you can kind of go like this. What is that called, May?
A flosser?
Flosser, or you're flossing, right? Brushing your teeth is extremely important. But what's as important, those fancy dentists tell us, is to make sure we get in between the teeth. And I like to take a little piece of floss and I scrub in between the teeth and just rub it. Like I said, May takes this little device, we call them flossers, that has this string on there and just cleans in between. So that's one example of sort of hygiene, okay? We're going to talk a little bit later about, in a few minutes, I should say, about hand washing and what that should look like. But the other big one I think is just generally grooming, right? As you start to get older, May has, May will turn 10 pretty soon, and she has a 12-year-old and 13-year-old brother and sister. And so during this time, they're trying to do a lot of workouts. They play on some sports teams. And after you do a big workout, what happens to your body? If you've been playing soccer for 25 minutes at recess, when you go in back to the classroom, what do you feel like? What's happening? You are sweaty. Okay, you are sweaty. And of course, that's at school and that's great. But as you get older, what you learn is you want to wash that sweat off, right? We don't want the sweat to sit on us like that because that's not really being clean. That's when odors can come about. So what we try to do, if possible, is if we're out playing or maybe we're out working hard, we're helping mom or dad, grandma, grandpa in a garden, we're helping them around the house, we're helping them maybe help a neighbor who can't, move something from their apartment or from their house, and we help them out, but we work hard and we get sweaty and dirty. Part of hygiene, part of kind of staying well groomed, as they say, is to clean that because, sort of like our teeth, we want other people to be we don't want to build up different smells from our body. We want to stay clean, and really that's safe. As we're going to talk about with our hands, our bodies, and our hands especially, will catch different germs and things, and we need to from time to time kind of clean those off to make sure that we're running as healthy as we can be. Okay. So with just our last few minutes, we're going to take a little bit of a field trip. We're going to focus on one of these. We're going to explain a little bit about hand washing. Now, I hope that in this, funny time where we're not allowed to be in schools and so many of our businesses and the places that you go, maybe a restaurant or your friend's house, we aren't really doing those things. But those people on TV tell us most important right now is washing our hands. So May and I wanted to focus on that for just a couple minutes. I hope you've already heard this, but if you haven't, I think it'll be a great way for you to hear it. So I'm going to pick up this camera. Okay. Sorry, we're going to move in here into our little bathroom. Thank you, May. I'm going to set this right here. Okay. And sorry about that. All right. So you can see where you're May next to this sink. And what we want to talk about is that our hands get, as I mentioned, just from walking around and touching doors. And if you're at a restaurant or a friend's house or at school, we get germs and other things onto our hands, right? And the truth is, it doesn't really cause a problem on our hands. We don't have any openings on our hands, so those germs can't really get inside our bodies. But look at May right there. What do we tend to do with our hands? We touch our faces. It's a habit. It's something we do. I know if I'm talking on, the phone or something, I might sit like this and all of a sudden my hands are right next to my mouth. Maybe my eyes itch or I have a runny nose or I want to, there's an itch. So we are just constantly touching our faces. Okay. So we should try to not do that as much, right? Not touch our faces because our hands often do have these little tiny germs on them. And that's one way that we can get sick. But more importantly, since we just do that without even thinking, it's a great idea to keep your hands very clean. All right. So what we want to show you here is a great way to wash your hands. All right. And really the proper way. And like I said, I hope you've heard maybe on TV, maybe on some of these other videos from mom or dad or from a grandma or grandpa or maybe an older sibling, the correct way, because they really say there is a correct way to wash your hands, believe it or not. I know that before all this started, I've seen my own kids where they get their hands wet, add soap for 2 seconds, and they're done. And we've learned that is not the way to do it. Okay, so here's our little sink. May, why don't you go through and tell us at each step kind of what you're doing as you wash your hands properly, okay? And at home, sorry, if you can see from a sink, you can try this, or maybe right afterwards you can try it with someone, okay? Go ahead, May.
So you want to turn on the sink,
Okay.
get your hands wet, and turn it off.
Okay, pause. And what I notice is that May's turning on and off our sink kind of with her hands up here. And I think that's a pretty good idea because because it's touched a lot, probably has some germs on it as well. All right, if it's in between cleanings, let's say. So this part of the wrist, that doesn't really touch our face. So that's a good idea if we can open a door or we can um, turn on our water that way. So anyway, so May's hands are now wet. Okay, go ahead, May.
You want to get 1 pound of soap.
Okay.
And do the fronts and backs, and in between your fingers and your wrists.
Yeah, definitely want to get up those wrists. And about how long are we talking, May, for doing this process? Actually, the soap, working it around.
20 or 25 seconds.
Yeah, that's what they say. A minimum of 20 seconds. I know I've heard, maybe you have too, that if you sing "Happy Birthday to me, Happy Birthday to me, Happy Birthday, dear May, Happy Birthday to me." If you sing that through, maybe you have to do that one twice. But anyway, if you can have a little song in your head that's about 20 seconds, that's a nice way to pass the time. Otherwise, you might get impatient or you might get bored sitting there. Okay, so May is well past the 20-second mark, I think. And then she's going to use that same kind of wrist, elbow area. She's going to then rinse it nice and clean. Okay. Stop that water. Now, her hands are clean now. Yeah, and that's a great point. I'll go ahead and you can grab this. But after her hands are totally clean, that's again when she wants to use kind of the side of her wrist, I think, to shut off that water because now they're clean. And so you don't want to touch a surface right away that is, that's going to have some germs. Okay. Now at home, it's probably not as big of a deal because it's only, May's brother, sister, her mom or dad, myself, of course, that are using it. And so we probably have each other's germs like crazy around here. But when you go to a restaurant, a friend's house, at school, the doctor's office, okay, some of these other places where you might end up, and I'll just say other public places where the general public, other people, not necessarily only your family members are, that's when it's extremely important to wash your hands, okay? Now, finally, what activity can you think of where you really do bring your hands to your face a lot and you have a danger of getting those germs that are on our hands maybe into our mouths or around our face? Can you think of one activity we do probably 3 or 4 times a day where our hands come up near our mouths? May, what do you think? Eating. So it is a great habit before you eat to wash your hands. Now, I'm not saying that all of us eat like this, right? We don't all pick up potatoes and go like this, right? Or eating corn on the cob every day. And we often use utensils and, forks and spoons and other things like that. But still, inevitably, while we're eating, we just, our hands come up so close that it's a great opportunity to make sure that they are very clean, okay? Especially if we're in those public spaces. All right, so that brings us to the end of our video. I hope you've enjoyed it. May, I certainly want to thank you for your help. We did some very simple movements today, straight line, curve, and the zigzag, and we talked about those different speeds. And then we talked a little bit about the benefits of grooming, of doing some of those healthy habits like brushing our teeth, flossing, showering, washing our bodies when they're dirty, and most importantly, washing our hands, which again, if you've watched TV with on the news or anything, you just hear that's something the doctors are telling us is most important during this time, which is why May and I were really excited to just show a little bit about it. And hopefully, if you hadn't seen it, it was something that you'll practice moving forward. Okay, so have a great day. We hope to see you again soon. So long.